In the heart of Asia, amidst towering mountains and vast deserts, live the Uyghurs, a people whose history spans millennia. Their story is one of ancient trade routes, vibrant cultures, and a complex relationship with China. Today, the Uyghurs find themselves at a crossroads, facing challenges that have captured the world's attention. From their ancient origins along the Silk Route to their modern-day struggles for cultural preservation, the Uyghurs offer a compelling case study in the complexities of cultural identity and political power. Join us as we journey to understand the Uyghurs, their past, their present, and what the future holds for this resilient people. To understand the Uyghurs, we must first understand their homeland, the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region in northwest China. Xinjiang, meaning New Frontier in Chinese, is a land of stark beauty and contrasts, a region larger than France, Spain, and Germany combined. Towering mountain ranges give way to vast deserts, fertile oases punctuate the arid landscape, and ancient cities whisper tales of past empires and bustling trade. For the Uyghurs, Xinjiang is more than just a geographical location. It is the cradle of their culture, the land where their language is spoken, their music is played, and their traditions are kept alive. However, the region's geopolitical significance and its natural resources have also made it a point of contention, leading to a complex and often fraught relationship between the Uyghurs and the Chinese state. The roots of Uyghur history run deep, reaching back to the early centuries AD. While their exact origins are still debated among scholars, most agree that the Uyghurs emerged as a distinct group in the Altai Mountains and steppes of Central Asia. These early Uyghurs were likely part of a larger Turkic-speaking world, sharing cultural and linguistic ties with other nomadic groups in the region. Life for these early Uyghurs was shaped by the demands of their nomadic lifestyle, skilled horsemen and herders, traversing the vast steppes with their livestock. By the 6th century AD, the Uyghurs had established themselves as a significant force in Central Asia, forming powerful confederations and engaging in both trade and conflict with neighboring empires, including the Chinese Tang dynasty to the east. The 8th century marked a turning point in Uyghur history with the establishment of the Uyghur Khaganate. Centered in what is now Mongolia, the Khaganate rose to prominence after defeating the Gok Turks, another powerful Turkic empire. The Uyghur Khaganate was characterized by its political sophistication and its embrace of cultural exchange, developing a written script influenced by the Sogdian alphabet. During this period, the Uyghurs played a pivotal role in the Silk Road trade, connecting east and west and facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies. In the mid-9th century, internal strife and pressure from the Kyrgyz led to the collapse of the Khaganate, but the Uyghurs migrated southward, establishing a new kingdom in the Tarim Basin, the heart of what is now Xinjiang. The Tarim Basin, with its fertile oases and strategic location along the Silk Route, became the new center of Uyghur civilization. Here, the Uyghurs established a network of kingdoms and city-states that flourished for centuries, continuing to play a vital role in the Silk Route trade and serving as a bridge between East and West. As they transitioned from a nomadic to a more settled agricultural lifestyle, the Uyghurs embraced new forms of social organization, urban planning, and artistic expression. Their cities, such as Kashgar, Kucha, and Turfan, became renowned for their vibrant marketplaces, magnificent Buddhist temples, and sophisticated irrigation systems. It was during this era that the Uyghurs first encountered Islam, a religion that would eventually have a profound impact on their culture and identity. The arrival of Islam in the Tarim Basin marked a turning point in Uyghur history, profoundly shaping their cultural and religious identity. The adoption of Islam wasn't merely a religious conversion, it was a cultural transformation that touched every aspect of Uyghur life. Islamic principles became intertwined with Uyghur customs, influencing social norms, legal systems, and artistic expressions. The Uyghur language adopted Arabic script, replacing their earlier Sogdian-based writing system, further solidifying the role of Islam in their cultural fabric. This blend of Islamic orthodoxy and Sufi mysticism contributed to the unique character of Uyghur Islam, distinguishing it from other Islamic traditions in Central Asia and beyond. Language is often considered the soul of a culture, and for the Uyghurs, their language is a powerful symbol of their identity and a testament to their resilience. Uyghur, a Turkic language with a rich literary tradition, has served as a unifying force throughout their history, connecting them across geographic distances and political boundaries. Despite facing pressure from neighboring languages, including Chinese and Russian, the Uyghur language has demonstrated remarkable resilience, preserving its unique grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. However, in recent decades, the Uyghur language has faced increasing pressure from the Chinese government's policies promoting Mandarin Chinese as the primary language of education, administration, and public life in Xinjiang. This has raised concerns among Uyghurs and international observers about the future of their language and the potential erosion of their cultural heritage. Beyond language and religion, Uyghur culture is a vibrant tapestry woven from centuries of tradition, artistic expression, and a deep connection to their homeland. Uyghur music is renowned for its soul-stirring melodies, intricate rhythms, and the use of traditional instruments like the dutar and the rawap. Uyghur art encompasses intricate carpets and textiles, colorful ceramics, and delicate miniature paintings reflecting both their Islamic heritage and their Central Asian roots. No exploration of Uyghur culture would be complete without savoring their delectable cuisine, known for its unique blend of Central Asian and Middle Eastern influences. From hearty meat dishes like lagman to the ubiquitous polo, Uyghur cuisine tantalizes the palate with its aromatic spices, fresh ingredients, and a perfect balance of flavors. The relationship between the Uyghurs and the Chinese state is long and complex, marked by periods of both cooperation and conflict. Throughout history, the Tarim Basin, the Uyghurs' homeland, has held strategic importance for Chinese empires seeking to secure their western frontiers and control vital trade routes. During the Han Dynasty, Chinese influence first reached the Tarim Basin through trade and military expeditions. But it wasn't until the Tang Dynasty that the Chinese established a more permanent presence in the region. Following the Tang Dynasty's decline, Chinese control over Xinjiang waned, and the region saw the rise of independent Uyghur kingdoms. It wasn't until the Qing dynasty that China once again asserted its dominance over Xinjiang, incorporating it as a province in 1884. The fall of the Qing dynasty in 1911 ushered in a period of instability in China, with Xinjiang becoming a battleground for competing factions. The Uyghurs, seizing the opportunity for self-determination, declared two short-lived independent republics in 1933 and 1944. However, these attempts at independence were ultimately crushed by the forces of the newly established People's Republic of China in 1949. Under the leadership of Mao Zedong, the PRC incorporated Xinjiang as an autonomous region within its borders, but in practice the PRC maintained tight political control over the region. Throughout the latter half of the 20th century, Xinjiang witnessed a significant influx of Han Chinese migrants, leading to growing resentment among the Uyghur population, who felt their cultural identity and economic opportunities were being marginalized. Section 3: Seeds of Discord, Policies and Their Consequences. The People's Republic of China implemented policies in Xinjiang to solidify control and integrate the Uyghurs. These policies, justified as economic development and counter-terrorism, impacted Uyghur society and culture. Promoting Mandarin as the primary language threatened Uyghur language and heritage. Policies also restricted Uyghur religious practices, scrutinizing Islam. Economic marginalization and limited political participation sowed discontent. The government's heavy-handed response increased surveillance and detentions, deepening tensions. Early signs of oppression. The seeds of oppression sown in the late 20th century bore bitter fruit in the early 21st century. The Chinese government, concerned about separatist sentiments, implemented policies restricting Uyghur freedoms. Stricter controls on religious practices limited access to mosques and banned certain Islamic garments. Uyghur language and cultural expressions faced increasing censorship. Many Uyghurs argued these policies were discriminatory, benefiting Han Chinese migrants. Peaceful protests were met with police crackdowns, and arbitrary detentions became commonplace. Section 2. The People's War on Terror, a pretext for repression. The 9/11 attacks in the United States had a profound impact on China's policies in Xinjiang. The Chinese government seized on the global war on terror to intensify its crackdown on the Uyghurs, labeling dissent as terrorism. Under this guise, they implemented a draconian security apparatus, transforming Xinjiang into a police state. The most chilling manifestation was the establishment of a vast network of detention camps. These camps were sites of mass detention, political indoctrination, and forced labor. For years, the Chinese government's actions in Xinjiang remained hidden, shrouded in secrecy and propaganda. Evidence of atrocities mounted, capturing the international community's attention. Uyghur activists risked their lives to expose the horrors of the detention camps. International media published reports, shedding light on the plight of the Uyghur people. Governments faced pressure to take action. The US condemned China's actions, labeling them genocide. Other countries followed suit, exploring measures to hold China accountable. At the heart of the Uyghur crisis lies a chilling reality, the existence of a vast network of detention camps scattered across Xinjiang. These camps, euphemistically referred to by the Chinese government as vocational education and training centers, are anything but places of learning. They serve as instruments of mass detention, political indoctrination, and cultural erasure. Eyewitness accounts and leaked documents paint a horrifying picture of life inside these camps. Up to 2 million Uyghurs and other Muslim minorities have been detained since 2017. Their only crime is their ethnicity or religious beliefs. Inside, detainees face relentless political indoctrination and are forced to renounce their faith. They memorize propaganda, sing patriotic songs, and endure hours of lectures. Conditions are deplorable, with overcrowding, inadequate sanitation, and lack of medical care. Detainees face physical and psychological torture, including beatings and solitary confinement. Reports of deaths, organ harvesting, and sexual abuse highlight systematic human rights abuses. The detention camps are part of a broader campaign of forced assimilation and cultural suppression targeting the Uyghurs. Policies aim to eradicate Uyghur culture, language, and religion, replacing them with a Han Chinese-centric worldview. The Uyghur language has been systematically marginalized. Schools have switched to Mandarin, and Uyghur cultural events are restricted. Religious practices are under intense scrutiny and control. Mosques have been demolished and religious gatherings restricted. The government claims to combat terrorism and promote development, but these policies fuel resentment and fear. The Chinese government has transformed Xinjiang into a high-tech surveillance state, arguably the most intrusive in the world. Using facial recognition, biometric data, AI, and informants, authorities control every aspect of Uyghur life. Cameras are everywhere: streets, markets, mosques, and homes. Linked to databases, these cameras track movements and monitor interactions. DNA, fingerprints, and voice recordings are collected at checkpoints and health checks. This data creates comprehensive profiles, enabling precise tracking. For Uyghurs, this results in a climate of fear and paranoia. The plight of the Uyghurs has emerged as a major human rights crisis on the world stage. Evidence of China's repression has led to global condemnation and calls for accountability. The response includes diplomatic pressure, economic sanctions, and grassroots activism. Governments balance economic interests with human rights commitments. Uyghur activists campaign tirelessly for justice. China denies wrongdoing, calling reports lies by Western media. It defends its policies as necessary for combating terrorism and extremism. Despite China's deflections, the international community recognizes the gravity of the situation. Section 2. Between Words and Deeds, International Condemnation and Diplomatic Pressure. International condemnation of China's actions in Xinjiang has been swift and widespread. Governments worldwide have expressed deep concern over the human rights situation. The United States declared China's actions as genocide and crimes against humanity. Several countries have imposed targeted sanctions on Chinese officials. Despite strong rhetoric, concrete action has been limited. The power of solidarity, global advocacy, and the fight for justice. A global movement demands justice for the Uyghurs and an end to the atrocities in Xinjiang. Uyghur activists have raised awareness and challenged the Chinese government's narrative. Human rights organizations provide crucial evidence and advocate for international action. The power of this movement lies in its diversity and global connection. The fight for justice for the Uyghurs continues. The Uyghurs at the crossroads of history and hope. The Uyghurs' journey, marked by cultural brilliance and adversity, shows resilience and the power of identity. From ancient Silk Road origins to modern struggles, their fate is tied to empires and geopolitics. Today, they face an unprecedented threat from Chinese government policies. The systematic dismantling of their culture and the horrors of detention camps are a stark warning. Yet their spirit remains unbroken. Their rich cultural heritage continues to provide solace and strength. The world is watching, and the demand for justice grows stronger each day. Section 2. A shared responsibility, the path forward. The plight of the Uyghurs is a global challenge that demands a united response. Silence and inaction are not an option. We cannot stand idly by while an entire people is subjected to cultural genocide. We must move beyond rhetoric and take concrete action. Governments must translate concern into tangible measures. Targeted sanctions must be expanded and strengthened. Economic pressure must be considered as a tool to incentivize change. The international community must establish independent mechanisms to investigate and document abuses. We must all do our part to raise awareness and challenge the Chinese government's narrative. Support Uyghur-led organizations and educate ourselves and others. Use our voices to demand justice and hold corporations accountable. The path forward is fraught with challenges, but not without hope. By standing together, we can help create a future where the Uyghurs live with dignity and respect.